Hello and welcome to Daily Politics, reaching you from Trust TV here in Abuja. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy, and governance. My name is Suleiman. Tonight, our eyes are on the road to Aso Rock. As the race to the 2023 presidency gathers steam across all the major political parties, more issues are coming to light, just as more aspirants are also bringing themselves forward. In the APC, there is a boiling tension right underneath as to whether or not you are going to have a convention at all, because the whole idea of convention has been going on and on and on. After so many false starts, the APC are scheduled to hold their convention later next month. But at the same time, many candidates are coming forward, and as well as their supporters, to declare their interest, not just in offices for the convention or for the national executive of the party, but also for the various elective posts in the states and in the federal government. So tonight, we're asking, what is going on with internal politics within the APC? Do they have what it takes to stop the PDP from taking over from them? Or indeed, are they going to implode as many others have predicted? I have with me the set of people we call new breed politicians. That is, new faces and new ideas in Nigerian political environment. My first guest right here on my right is Dr. Ibrahim Dauda, who is an APC chieftain, but also aspiring to be the president of Nigeria come 2023. You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Also with me is, on the program tonight, is Malam Saidu Etsu, who is also aspiring, a 36-year-old who is aspiring to be chairman of the All Progressive Party Congress. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much.
And also with me is the DG of the Director General of the campaign for Salihu Mustafa Campaign Organization, Ambassador Bala Usman. You're most welcome, sir.
Good evening, viewers.
Thank you. But before we go on, we'll take a minute and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Thank you. Welcome back. Today we're looking at the internal politics of the APC, particularly as we move towards the 2023 elections. But even before then, as we move towards the APC National Convention, I have with me three heavyweights within the party with whom we'll just get into the discussion. So usually I start my discussion from my right, but today I have three people. So I will start whatever is most convenient. My first question, Doctor, the APC, are they going to have a convention at all? Are we going to see a convention? Because the opposition party has done theirs. Between then and now, you have had two extensions. Are you going to have a convention to elect new leaders for your party at all?
Certainly, yes. The APC as a party will have its convention like any other party. Despite the challenges, the problems, there are internal issues which are normal within a political party setting. So the party will have its convention as at when the date that was fixed by the committee, I believe that convention will hold by the grace of God.
Okay, so but do you share his confidence? Because the two of you represent campaigns for that convention, you know, opposing campaigns. You yourself, you are contending for that, for the chairmanship of the party,
right.
And you represent Malam Salihu Mustafa, who is also contending for the post. There are several other candidates also for the same post. Do you share the confidence that that convention is going to hold?
Yeah, certainly.
as scheduled?
Yeah, certainly. Since that we have a committee on ground who have saddled with the responsibility to take charge and affairs of the party for the last 1.5 or 2 years. And they've agreed, and they've sat, all the stakeholders have agreed, the 26th February is the day for the convention. I think they are men of integrity, men of honor, who have bring out the dates, and certainly we are going to have a convention.
Thank you. Ambassador, given that this same committee that Malam Itsu is talking about has extended the date and extended again and again, but also given, you know, even within the party itself, a lot of criticism that it's an illegal committee or a committee that does not have a legal support. Do you trust that the convention is going to hold as now scheduled?
And let me correct an impression you're making. You said illegal committee. There's nothing is legal.
Okay.
The committee is legal. By virtues, by the constitution of a party, you can have committees
Okay.
to run the affairs of the party in the absence of a working committee. So there's nothing like
And that
illegal.
a national it can be chaired by someone holding an executive position, because that's those who say it's illegal, that's the key argument they are making.
Anyway, to not digress from our discussion, that has been sorted out, settled by the last Supreme Court judgment.
Okay.
You understand? It's not illegal. There's nothing. It's a committee. It's not that it's an appointment. What the Constitution says, you cannot take a paid employment while still holding a party.
And the position is not paid.
It's not paid employment.
Go on.
It's just a committee that is timely by the Constitution. Is the extension of the first 6 months by our Constitution. So there's nothing really extraordinary about it. So, you know, these are people who just want to overflog issues, bring issues out of nothing. So there's nothing about that. Those are the opposition party.
But part of the issues that have been milling around is, you know, that there has been a disproportionate interest of candidates who are within the North Central. You know, the person, Malam Saliu Mustafa is from Ilorin, you know, from Kwara State, therefore North Central. You're probably from North Central yourself?
Niger State.
Niger State, so that's North Central as well.
Yes.
Then you have people, Al-Makura, Tanko Al-Makura, who is from Nasarawa State, therefore North Central. You have George Akume. So everyone appears to be, is it that the party has zoned it officially to the North Central state? And if that is the case, what about other contenders from other parties, starting with you as well?
Anyway, I want you to understand that party positions are zoned in for 1 or 2 reasons.
Okay.
By our configuration as a party, the North Central is the third largest zone where we intend to get our votes from.
Okay.
And we want to carry them along. It's strategic. You understand? It's just not done. It's done out of intense engagements, discussions, agreements, and disagreements. So the party arrived at the North Central. Though the chairman of the committee, the caretaker committee, His Excellency May Malabuni, made a statement at the forum recently to state the position of the zoning, that the chairmanship has been zoned to the North Central zone. Yeah, true to that. So we didn't just come out of it. It's part of discussions and projections that for winning the 2023 general elections. And don't forget,
yes,
this is the first time APC is going to start an election. We're going to stand on its logo, on its name. The 12 million votes that President Malwa has come from, that has been bringing to the table for 2003, will not be there. These votes are scattered.
Yes.
We're doing everything possible to see how we can enhance these votes. That's why you see that's why we decided to bring somebody like Saliu Mustafa.
Interesting.
We'll bring somebody who understands the intricacies of running a political party.
Thank
running
you.
A political, okay.
Malam Saidu Etsu, he's saying that there is a strategic reason why the party has zoned the chairmanship of the party to the North Central.
Okay.
But some people will say that the PDP got there before you because they did just exactly the same thing. So the question is, are you copying PDP or is it that the PDP is going to have an edge over you in the North Central in the main election, or how do you see that?
Thank you very much. I think my friend and brother have given an answer to the question that we're being strategic. And everybody is strategic. Politics is about strategy. It's about how you can win your elections successfully without any problems. And that's why our projections and the findings and the stakeholders have been talking background that the North Central is strategic in the national chairmanship race. And that's why you see a lot of the aspirants that comes out from these elections are from the North Central. In fact, in my state, we have two in number.
Yes.
This
Sani 313.
Yes, Sani Musa 313, and I myself. And you can see from Kwara, we have a candidate there. We in Nasarawa and Plateau. And that's why you can see that we're strategic. Okay. We're not going for any other positions than this. And that's why I believe that the position of the chairmanship is coming to the North Central. And definitely North Central is going to take it. And we're going to bring our block votes in 2030 to make sure that we emerged again and produce a president that will continue with what the President Muhammad Buhari has been doing. Oh, so you intend to campaign on what the record of President Muhammad Buhari? We will come to that, you know. Dr. Ibrahim, if you zone the party to the chairmanship of the party to the North Central or to any zone, in Nigerian politics, that always means that the president or the presidential candidate cannot come out from that same zone again. This is the tradition. Maybe not a rule, but at least a strong convention in Nigerian politics that the president and the national chairman of the same party or the presidential candidate cannot come from the same place. So what do we do with contenders like Governor Yahaya Bello? Does it mean that they're automatically out? To pave way for people like yourself, or?
Well, zoning in its essence, it's not a written law. It's an understanding, like you said, based on certain factors that are, considered to be in favor of the party looking at the disposition of the election. The entire mechanism of party is geared towards winning election. And at a certain level, the party sits down and look at the strategic application of certain, formulas that will enable it win that election. If at a particular time, the party working committee or the executives of the party or the leaders of the party deems it fit for a particular formula to be applied, which is why the Electoral Act is now liberal in, methodology of conducting primaries to give room for flexibility of choice. So there are a lot of things that will come to play which will necessitate the party's decision for or against a particular formula to be adopted at each level. So I don't look at it as a position that will disenfranchise.
But some people are saying that one of the reasons, that the APC doesn't really have a strategy of its own, because virtually everyone who has spoken is talking about strategy. But in politics, your strategy is just one thing. It also depends on the strategy of your opponent, isn't it?
Yes.
Some people are saying that everything you are doing is dependent. You are watching what the PDP is doing. So you are already taking an offensive position. Do you think so, Ambassador? I will come back to you.
Okay. No, that's not true.
Okay.
Rather, it's the other way around. PDP has always learned from
that they're on the offensive and you are now on the defensive already.
No. We're not on the defensive. The issue is that the issue of picking chairmanship of the party was based on certain projections, like I told you. And we're not looking at them. We're in government. They are in opposition. You don't expect us to look at what they are doing. Rather, they should be the ones watching out for what we're doing. So it's entirely the other way around. So this decision is in the interest of the party, for the success of the party. So it's not about any candidate, like you spoke earlier on, that automatically, zoning doesn't mean if a position is zoned to the party, it doesn't mean people will not contest outside the zone.
Okay.
Yeah, the other time, don't forget, even at in 2014, 15, when we had our primaries, presidential primaries, there are candidates who contested for the presidency from Northeast, Northwest.
There's a question I'm itching to ask you.
Yeah.
Let us suppose that you win the election,
Yeah.
and become the APC national chairman. How are you going to handle the contest between former Governor Bola Tinubu and Vice President Osinbajo?
Very interesting.
That's the elephant in the room. How are you going to handle something
Very
like that?
interesting. I think people are just making projection on how the election is going to be, which is very true and certainly. If I'm the party chairman, there's a lot of principles and the guidance. It's already in the book, how you conduct your primaries, how you make sure that the candidate emerged. And anybody that is interested in the presidential race, either Asiwaju and either my brother here, anybody that is interested in it, you'll be given a fair hearing. That's why it's in our campaigns. I have what they call APC Reset Agenda as my motto.
Okay.
And we have 4 cardinal things. One is positive rebranding of the party.
Okay.
Secondly is party supremacy. Third is what we call internal democracy. We want to build a strong internal democracy in the party. And the last one, which is a quality reward system. And the issue of Asiwaju and the vice president, even though the vice president have not officially declared, and my brother here have declared his interest.
Yes.
Let me talk about between Asiwaju and my brother here,
Yes.
who are going to the race.
Thank
as
you.
far as I'm concerned, if I'm the chairman today,
Yes.
there is already internal democracy, how we can conduct our elections. And there's rules to do that. And we're going to follow it strictly, adhere to the constitution of the party, and everybody will free and make sure that anybody that emerged victorious at the primaries, you're going to satisfy with how I'll conduct my
Thank you. Ambassador, your party, your camp within the APC, gunning for the APC chairmanship, no APC chairman can avoid this question in the coming months within the APC. None. If whoever wins will have to deal with this issue. If we want to speak beyond theory, to speak in practical politics, you have to deal with the Tinubu and Osinbajo political question. How do you aim to handle that? What plan do you have to see that if you have one, you are not going to lose the other?
But to remind you, Professor Yemi Osinbajo has not declared intention to contest the presidency of Nigeria. And I don't want to preempt him or to say as the person that has declared his intentions, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and which I believe, of course, has the capacity to be able to go pull through the primaries, go through the primaries. And what I want you to understand is that what we intend to do is to have free, fair, and credible primaries for it. Because if that is done, it's only when that is achieved that stakeholders will be ready to contribute to the overall success of the party. And we intend to give every candidate that is coming to contest, who is going to contest on this platform, the primaries, free, fair, and credible primaries. And I assure you, Salim Mustapha is bent on achieving that. In fact, that is one of the reasons why we brought him in to contest this election. It was a decision of stakeholders for him to contest. You understand? Want somebody that will be persuasive, somebody will be tolerant, somebody who understands party administration. And that's where we're going to. And inshallah, we'll get there.
Hopefully, yeah. So, Doctor, and as a presidential candidate yourself, do you see any possibility of fusion? That maybe if any of these heavyweights, including yourself, within the party, if they're not happy, they're likely, because this has happened before in Nigerian politics. It's happened in 2015 with the PDP. Do you see any possibility that you are going to have a new APC, or they are going to move away from the APC into another party, or how do you hope to have everyone within the same APC fold?
It's a good question. If you look at the reconciliatory structure presently on ground, and the caliber of personalities managing that committee, they were carefully selected. based on their pedigree, experiences, and knowing the intricacies of managing such complexities. After whatever happens beyond the primaries, remember the first thing that will be done before the primaries is going to be consensus. That is trying to look at the capacity, advantages, a lot of factors will come into play for the party to now say, okay, instead of we going this way, why can't we sit in a room and do a gentleman agreement based on certain checklists that will be preferred by the party? If that is not, achievable, then you go to the primaries and test your popularities and your capabilities. Now, if as individual politicians, we agree that, credibility of processes and the supremacy of the party supersedes our personal interest, then the outcome of the primary should be able to satisfy everybody. But then,
that's not always been the case in Nigerian politics.
You now talk about the credibility of the process. And that is why in another forum I said, it is not the methodology that is adopted by the party that is important, whether consensus, whether direct primaries, whether indirect primaries. It is the credibility of the process that determines the outcome of what happens.
Thank you. But since you people are, whether you are going to have direct primaries or indirect primaries or consensus, that will be the decision of people in your position to make in the coming months. It is the APC chairman and his executive officers that will take that decision in consultation, of course, with other members. But it will be your job, right, to make that decision. Which of these do you favor and why? Which of these do you think is the best, for APC right now, and why so?
Thank you very much. I think the three, which is direct, indirect, and the consensus.
Yes.
It's a very good one for the party to move forward. But we have to look at all the variables that will make sure that we have each free primaries.
Okay.
And the first, let's start from direct primaries.
Okay.
If we can have a complete database of our members, in which you can be on your computers, Google it, and you know the exact number of people that are in your wards or in your local government, not jumping in, jumping out, complete database of your members. I think direct primaries can help.
Okay.
But in the absence of that, we go for consensus.
Okay.
When we reach out to consensus, how we call all the aspirants to come on board and see how we can be able to agree on some certain things based on your capacity and your strengths. If that one fails, we go for indirect primaries, which will allow the delegates to take the day and to decide who be our flag bearer of our party. All these three is okay, but I look at it that we need to build a strong party structure that can guarantee.
Ambassador, supposing your campaign, is persuaded to that, okay, even the National Convention itself is going to be based on consensus, just like the PDP did. That means there will be no election. Rather, there will be a selection based on some deals and some agreements. How do you hope to handle that within your own campaign? Are you preparing towards that? And what are your plans towards that eventuality?
Those are all options. Like, by our party constitutions, it allows for 3 of these options. Okay. Consensus, indirect, and direct primaries. And whatever the decision of the caretaker committee and the convention committee, in fact, invariably.
So if they say that your candidate should step down for one person, for example, Al-Makura or George Akume, would you be happy to do that?
No, definitely we are the consensus candidate.
If
there's going to be any consensus, my candidate will be a consensus candidate.
Okay. So if there's going to be a consensus candidate, it will be you?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
So how do you, because there can be only one candidate?
No, you have to look at the strengths and the capacity to deliver.
Okay.
And each aspirant has what you have to give out to its members. And it's already on my needy that I have APC reset agenda, which I have 4 cardinal things to give. And at the end of the day, I believe that even my brother here, they will agree that let the young man go, because I have the energy, the capacity, and the zeal to re-engineer this party and move this party beyond 2023. And I think...
Thank you. So, but that brings us to the whole idea of this new breed. You know, it's been quite a long discourse in Nigerian politics. People want to see new faces. In fact, in the 90s, it was even enshrined into the process that we wanted new breed politicians. We didn't want the old ones. We ended up with the old ones. The 3 of you and the campaigns that you all represent are fairly new. You know, not new as in never been in politics, but not new in the sense that not household names like those who are already there. What is that one thing that you're offering your party and Nigerians that will make us interested? Thank you.
If you sum it in one thing, you are not going to get the essence of what is going to be projected. What is desired of a leader? What are the values and qualities of a leader? In a lot of climes, we attribute leadership to your educational qualification, your offices, previous offices held, your background, your experience, your networking, your every other thing. But most of the times, what are the real values of leadership? One's ability to make a decision without being guided by emotion, negatively, sentiment, selfish interest, and the fear of God. These are the pillars of leadership. They are the real values of leadership. Now, your educational background, your exposure, your experiences, and every other thing are attributes that sharpens your ability to make informed decision.
Okay.
So, one of the basic problems of our system is decisions that are guided by these 3 things. Now, what I'm offering is a process that will ensure unity of the entire system. We need to see our
unity
brothers,
of Nigeria or
yes,
the APC?
Nigerians to start
Okay.
with. Because beyond the party, we are talking of our country.
Okay.
And unless we begin to see ourselves as brothers and our thoughts, let me give you an example. If we are going to call people on the street today to come on strike, we don't call them on religious or tribal lines, do we? We say Nigerians should come out on the streets. If the politicians or any other person wants to recruit young people as thugs or whatever, they don't do that on religious or ethnic divide. But why is it that when we come to power or leadership, then we bring those emotions and sentiments to play?
Thank you. Very interesting discussion. But I have to cut you short when we and then go on a minute break. But before then, just before then, you Ambassador, you said earlier that your candidate will be the consensus candidate. What is it that your candidate is offering? What's that new thing that?
Yeah, my candidate is coming with over 2 decades of party administration.
Okay.
And I want you to understand that he's coming with the core value of innovation.
Okay.
He has the competence, he has the capacity, he has the tenacity, he's a good team player. He has the competence and the capacity to be able to run this party. He's done it before. Don't forget, he was a signatory to the merger document that created the APC. He was then the deputy national chairman of CPC.
Interesting.
When Tony Momoh was in London for surgery, he in fact signed the merger document to what is today we are all enjoying APC. So he has the knowledge of party administration. Some of those people you are referring to are just political people who came, and one of the candidates we're even talking about Mukura. He brought Amukura to CPC and he gave him that ticket. So he was the first person that actually gave an opportunity to even win an election.
Makura was the first person to win governorship election for CPC.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying Salu Musa brought him into APC.
Interesting.
And gave him that ticket. We didn't know him, for he was a core PDP member. You understand? Before then, Salu Musa, in his ability to be able to get something for APC, to be able to get candidates that win elections for them, he scouted around and found Al-Makura and brought him to APC.
Thank you. Thank you, viewers, for staying with us while as we discuss the internal politics of the APC as we move towards their national convention later next month. We'll be taking a very short break and we'll return and continue with that discussion. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV. If you're just joining us, you can also follow us on the conversation on all our social media platforms, on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, and of course on YouTube. Before we went on that break, we were discussing about the internal politics of the APC, particularly as we move towards the convention. We continue right where we stopped a minute ago. So there are many issues, that people are looking towards the APC. Not just the convention, but also the general election is looming large. There's been a lot of fears and a lot of criticism that in terms of performance, either at the federal level and in many states, the APC doesn't have much to use into the 2023 elections. Now, as a probable chairman of the party, how do you respond to this, particularly, in relation to the PDP, which also had its own fair share of government in 16 years in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. I think people should know that APC comes on board and made this country on ground zero. And on that ground zero, we're able to pick up, pay salaries. There are some states that can't pay salaries. The president.
Some people would say paying salary is a right.
Thank you very much. Let me tell you. Let me land.
It's not something you can say.
Let me land.
If I work for you, you have to pay me.
Let me land.
Yes.
If somebody provides services and you didn't pay him due to some certain exigencies, who's at fault? The employer, right? But the government come on board, think out of the box, make sure that he do all these things. Secondly, the railway system that we're enjoying today, it's finished by this government. Third, the second Niger bridge.
The main one, they would say the main one is the Kaduna, because there's no PDP person here, from Kaduna to Abuja. And that one was 80% completed by the government of the Jonathan administration.
What about Lagos, Abeokuta? Okay. What about Itakpe and other Warri Itakpe?
Okay.
And look at Second Niger Bridge. From papers to reality. Now it's about 70% completion. At least, in fact, the southeast region should appreciate this government a lot.
But the Second Niger Bridge in particular, some people would say it was 70% completed in 2019 or 2017. And where in 2022, it is still 70% completed because many projects of this government are ongoing. There are few that people would say, okay, this has been completed. Some people are asking, why is that?
Listen, let me even respond to that.
Yes,
let me
please.
tell you something. You know that Second Niger Bridge was commissioned by the Goodluck administration.
Yes.
Without an engineering design. They did that just to win an election. And when President Buhari came in, he found out there was no engineering design. So there's no way the project could even take off. He has to commission new consultants to do the engineering design and pay the first lump sum of 33 billion to the contractor to be able to mobilize the site.
Okay.
So we are about like not 70%, we are about like 85% now as I talk to you. So in terms of second Niger bridge, the South has never gotten anything like that.
Thank you.
This government.
Doctor, some people would say that, yes, 85%, but 85% is still not 100%, and not just for the second Niger bridge, but for many projects of the government. When you face Nigerian voters as a primary contender for the presidency, or if you eventually win the election later this year and then early next year, what achievements of this government are you going to hold to say, okay, this is what we have done from APC that we are going to continue with?
One of the basic achievement of any government, or rather, let me rephrase it. One of the cardinal points of development is continuity.
Okay.
President Muhammadu Buhari have achieved what no Nigerian leader has done, because he has instilled in the system the principle of continuity. A larger percentage of the projects he is completing now are inherited projects that transited beyond even the last administration.
Okay. Some from
He
Yar'Adua,
is the first president
Obasanjo,
to have inherited and moved 100% with processes he has met on ground, not minding who initiated it. But his interest is delivering them because they are national projects that belong to every Nigerian. Now, that is the principle of development. Why we have been having problems initially is because there are bridges. A new administration comes in, they look at what has been done by the initial or previous administration and either stop it, reorganize or restructure it to reflect their identity. That is why I spoke of emotion, sentiment, and selfish interest. It has been the bane of our problem. Now, that is one of the major achievements of the administration, which no one is talking about. He has established the principle of continuity of governance, which every administration that will come beyond him.
But if we are looking at the common man in the street, who maybe has a job but not so much, who has to pay gas bills, who has to pay rent, who has to buy food at astronomical prices, to what extent do you think the principle of continuity will make sense to him? Because that's not food on the table.
Thank you very much. I think a common Nigerian should be able to trace back to our history, where we're coming from and where we picked it up. In 2015, after the President Muhammadu Buhari government, before the President Muhammadu Buhari government, the then Minister of Finance was already crying for that the country is collapsing. The country is collapsing. But today, the president with his team were able to manage this country and taking this country beyond expectation at this level we are. Hadn't been this government didn't come on board, how do you think the country will be? The country will collapse totally, insecurity, and a lot of economic challenges at that time, because the then Minister of Finance have already said it, that we can't continue, we can't pay salaries. And there's no way they can think beyond that. But when the government come on board, bring his think tank, and with the kind of projections and what he has on ground, he was able to manage this. And
what he has on ground, especially debts and debts and debts. In 2015, Nigeria's total debt profile was around 13 trillion. Today we're talking about 3 trillion. Is that something that is sellable to Nigerians?
Listen, you see, there's something you have to understand.
Okay.
One of my first courses is I'm a development expert. I have a master's in development.
Interesting.
You see, what these debts are actually debts incurred for infrastructures. They are not debts incurred for maybe buying pleasure items for the country, for recurrent expenses. So these are infrastructures. In every development indices you think of, once you borrow to provide infrastructures. It's positive. When all of these things are done, after many years, the railways are going, you understand, now we're on the verge of we're doing Kaduna, we've done Abuja, Kano. We are now doing Kaduna, Kano, which was extend to Maradi, you understand, to give us, instead of going to Cotonou, now people of Nigeria can pass through the Tinker Island, the Papa Port, and import the items. So it's quite strategic, but people don't understand these things because the benefits are not going to be immediate until these infrastructures are completed. People start enjoying them. Jobs are created. You understand? There's no way, because we look at the price of the barrel of crude when President Buhari came, and look at what happened during the PDP regime. It was very high. Rather, the excess crude account was shared among the governors. These are,
but how do we know? How do we know that it's not being shared now? Because just earlier, the editorial board meeting, we received information from the what do you call Transparency International about the new corruption perception index. Nigeria's position is even worse than it was last year, and worse than it was the year before. So how do we know? And usually in Nigeria, it is after a government has left that you get to hear more of the scandals of what happened when they were in power. So how do we know that there isn't monumental corruption going on under this government now, even with the mantra of anti-corruption and change?
If you look at the anti-corruption crusade of Mr. President, between the time he came in, or this administration came in, to today, you equate it with the achievements. Like he said, what fiscal and monetary policies, development indices are not mostly things you see immediately.
Okay.
Look at US today. The United States Senate and Congresses have to pass a law to extend the borrowing ceiling to allow the president borrow about $2 trillion. What is he going to do with it? Investing it in infrastructure. Because the supporting infrastructure in the country is not going to support the growth of the system over time. There is a futuristic thinking. I don't know the indices they used in arriving at their conclusion. But if you look at the achievements in terms of fighting crime, let's start with the TSA. It has been on paper, but he came before TSA. Institutions of government, an agency can have up to 50, 60, 70, whatever number of accounts. Some of them are just lying dormant with funds inside. He repatriated all these monies to TSA, centralizing it to one account. That is an evidence of accountability. Secondly, the digital payment system in this country is one of the best in the world today. And
but that was not done by this government, right?
I spoke about continuity.
Okay.
Most of the project is completing. You see, we attach so much values to initiators of project, but we fail to appreciate those that execute and conclude those projects to reality.
Thank you.
If he had left those projects and initiated his own, probably we would not have achieved the level of development we have achieved now. Then, thirdly, the digitalization of revenue collection today
but
by
some
the
people
FIRS.
are saying it's good to talk about continuity.
The indices
it's good to talk about indices.
is what we are talking about, which led to
but the real
qualifying
indices
Nigeria.
that Nigerians are more disturbed about.
That is what I want
indices
what I want to talk about.
Kidnappings and abductions,
Security issues,
yes,
which are
that-
tied to
you know that
every other problem.
tied to especially to food security.
Yes.
People can no longer go to their farms. They cannot even go stay in their own homes, you know, let alone even school kids can no longer go to school. These are real issues in Nigeria today, and no one can deny them. How does an APC as a party or an APC presidential candidate, how do you want to go beyond these issues to sell yourself to Nigerians as an electable party?
The security challenges
Yes.
is tied to three things.
Okay.
First, it's arms. Arms and ammunitions. Second, it's funding. Third, collaborators.
Okay.
Now, if you secure our borders today, to a larger extent, we have issues of porosity and other things. And you have to do a mix of personnel and deployment of technology, where you reduce the engagement of, because you don't have enough personnel to man the border. So you have to deploy. There are a lot of technologies today that you can combine. You have UAVs.
What about dialogue and all that?
I'm coming to
peaceful
that.
means?
I'm talking of the physical, because before you go to dialogue, you have to put physical infrastructure to, deterrence.
Okay.
Because no matter how you dialogue, without deterrence, people will still cross. So you need to have, designated exit and entry points that are going to be properly manned and equipped. When you properly secure your point of entry, then you go into dialogue, one, with the bordering communities, and let them understand that this is the new rule.
Thank you. These are interesting ideas, no doubt, but what guarantee do we have that these are ideas that are shared widely within the party? That other candidates
you ask me of if today I am.
Yes, no, because I want to bring others into the discussion. You understand?
We've not done justice to that discussion.
1 minute.
Okay. So when you secure your border,
yes,
that cuts off the supply of arms into your country. Then you deal with the perpetrators and collaborators. That leaves the terrorists, or whatever nomenclature they are called, isolated. Then it's a matter of time.
Thank you. So but beyond your idea to become chairman of the APC, what is the manifesto, to Nigerians for the 2023 elections? Because being chairman is just a step. The ultimate goal is to win back power in 2023 from other opposition parties. How do you aim to do that? 1 minute.
Thank you. I think first and foremost,
yes,
we must make sure that Nigerians can be able to live at their home peacefully.
Okay.
Secondly, be able to put food on their tables.
You are still selling the same security that you sold in 2015?
We're not selling now. We're not selling.
Okay.
Sorry, we're not selling. What we are doing now, build on what we have done. In this government...
So more insecurity?
Yes, no more insecurity.
Okay.
We're going to buy more equipment. We're going to train more personnel. We're going to make sure that the country... This insecurity thing that you're saying, you can't compare it with what we've been saying, but we can't do comparisons. I'm very sorry, because we find ourselves in an unfortunate situation.
Feel free, we're in politics.
What I'm saying now is, the kind of insecurity we've seen now, it has changed dimension, because this is pure, what they call it, banditry and kidnapping and criminality. The last one we have in Maiduguri, you can see it has been subdued, because the government come on board, buy equipment.
So I'm sorry, I have to stop you because we have just 1 minute. So maybe our final question. The APC, do you believe you have an Ali Modu Sharif problem? Given that today you have Ali Modu Sharif, and it's interesting that we have someone from Borno here. Ali Modu Sharif a few years ago, he went all the way to the Supreme Court in order to become chairman of the PDP. Now he's in contention, and he is not from the North Central, where the party the chair has been zoned to. Do you believe you have an Ali Modu Sharif problem?
No, we don't have any Ali Modu Sharif problem.
Okay.
He is free to contest. Nobody's going to stop him from buying form.
Okay.
But this is the agreement of major stakeholders. When there's an agreement within the party, it doesn't mean that everybody will agree to that same thing. But there must be agreements, there must be disagreements. But the important thing is the major who, in percentage term, where is the majority going? And that's at the end of the day, that's where the decision will be made on what. So we have agreed we're going to elect, we're taking our chairmanship to North Central. You understand? So, but that's...
So I think...
he can contest, he has one, there will be no problem. You understand?
Thank you very much, Dr. Dauda Ibrahim, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And we wish you all the best in your aspirations to become president of Nigeria. Thank you very much, Malam Saidu Etsu, for coming on the show. And we wish you all the very best in your aspirations to become chairman of the APC. And thank you very much, Director General Saliu Mustafa Campaign, Malam Ambassador Bala Usman. Thank you for coming on the show. I think this is where we draw a curtain. So one thing is, well, wherever the majority goes is where the APC is going. I think on that note, we come to the end of this program, and thank you for staying with us, and we hope that you join us next time, same time tomorrow, when we bring you another edition of Daily Politics. My name is Suleiman Suleiman. Good night.